Hi, my name's JB Wagner, and this is my channel, Unconventional Wisdom. As always, you don't need to subscribe or like, because I'm doing this for my own pleasure and fun and to share the information. This particular video is about some great lenses if you like to manual focus on your Micro Four Thirds camera, and I love to manual focus. Going back to my days in the late 60s and 70s with manual focus film cameras with beautiful bright viewfinders and great focusing screens and lenses with beautiful focus dampening. When autofocus came out, I wasn't pleased at all because they diminished the viewfinders dramatically, assuming you no longer needed to focus because of autofocus. And to me, that was a big setback, not an advancement. Autofocus has its place, but there are a lot of instances with a lot of types of shots where it's easier to manual focus and much more enjoyable than it is screwing around with autofocus and trying to find a focus point. So I always like to start with the conclusion first. And I've got the Olympus OM1 and the Lumix G9 cameras here. If I only could have one lens, just one lens, no other lenses, whether they're autofocus, manual focus, and I wanted good manual focusing but a versatile lens, then I'm going to go for it's not a pure manual focus lens, not only manual focus, but the Olympus 12-40 Pro, the original version. And why would I do that when this is about manual focus? Well, this lens has a manual focus ring that when you pull back, it actually reveals the traditional focus range here. It shows your distance scale, and it has beautiful dampening. It's really, really good. And on this camera, it integrates the manual focus very powerfully because it's an Olympus camera. Works good on the Lumix cameras too, but even better on the Olympus camera. Now, part of having great manual focus is having a great viewfinder, and both of these cameras have great viewfinders. This one's insane. It's like 5.7 plus million dots, pixels, which is crazy. This one is great, and it's like approximately 3.7 million pixels. You need at least this 3.78, I think it is, or 3.68 million pixels to have great manual focus experience, in my opinion. There are a lot of mirrorless cameras that have lesser viewfinders. Sony's kind of famous for lower resolution viewfinders in their APS series cameras, for instance. But even Panasonic, when they're trying to save money, they diminish the viewfinder. So anyway, back to the conclusions. My number one lens, if I only had one, is this zoom. I'm shooting right now with the Leica 12-60 on my GH6, and it has decent manual focus. It's a great overall lens, but it's a lot more expensive. We'll get to the cost part later. The lens I am most smitten with in a long, long time that has incredibly great manual focus is this Brightin Star 35mm 0.95 f.95. This is a Leica lens for 180 bucks. It's crazy. It has incredible focus dampening, fantastic aperture clicking. Might be a little on the stiff side for somebody, but I like it the way it is. It has fantastic bokeh, and it's sharp, and it looks like a Leica lens. They've mimicked the engravings, the markings, and everything. This is pure manual focus, okay? So, but if I already had a happy lens that was my general lens, whether it was the Olympus or not, this would be by far the first manual focus lens, pure manual focus lens that I would purchase. I got to get to these conclusions. The next one in line is the Laowa 9mm, which is also a pure manual focus lens. This is an f2.8. And then after that is the Olympus 12mm, which is not a pure manual focus, but it has the ring that goes back, and it has the markings, and it has good focus dampening. It's an excellent lens. The final lens, which is the least manual focusy, is the Lumix 20mm, but it does have good dampening on its focusing. It's a great lens, and it's really small and light and sharp. So let me go on now and explain more. Like I say, if you already have your basic zoom that gives you the coverage you want, that's working well, even if it's not your favorite manual focus, then you may not pop for this Olympus lens. This lens MSRP I think is $9.99. And you don't want the Pro 2, you want the original Pro from everything I've read. This lens is a phenomenal lens. It's 2.8 through the whole range. It's been out for quite a long time now, and they're selling on eBay for the 300s, which is great. It's always on sale for $200 off at $299 new, but buying a good used example for $3 something it's a phenomenal lens to have in your kit, and could be your only lens. It's super versatile. So check out eBay, and I'll leave a description link below so that you can copy and paste it into the search tool in eBay and look up the current price. Now, I've raved about the Brightin Star. So this is Chinese made. Now, when you have a manual focus lens like this, you don't have any metadata going from the camera to the computer chip to be saved. You're kind of flying on your own. You set your aperture with the ring, not with the camera, and you'll have to set the camera in one of the settings. You'll be able to set the camera to shoot without a lens. They all have this, and that's what you have to have. You have to have set that up to shoot without a lens, because there's no metadata or no electronic function. When you have a lens like this, or like the Laowa, it doesn't know the lens is on the camera. Now it may ask you, and for sure the G9 asks you, it knows there's a lens there, but it doesn't know what it is. So it asks you to identify the millimeters of the lens, and that may be for some reason for focusing, I'm not sure. But you can save those when you have manual lenses, and if you're changing from one manual focus lens to another, you'll have to make that change right when it boots up. It comes up on the screen. But people are out there buying brand new Leica rangefinder cameras and buying lenses like this for $3,000 to $5,000, $6,000, and this is $180. I'll leave a couple links to reviews on this lens, but if you search it on YouTube, you're going to see the reviews are just glowing. Keep in mind too that this is designed for APS-C, so the image circle is bigger than the micro four thirds center. So whatever this lens might be lacking in corner and edge sharpness, it's not lacking it as much when you use it on micro four thirds. So of course this is full frame equivalent is 70 millimeter, which is a perfect portrait lens and a great bokeh lens to have. So the Laowa, I think that's how you say it. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to go with that, or Laowa. Anyway, this is super compact. Its full frame equivalent is 18 millimeters, so it's very wide, and it is easy to focus with focus aids. But if you set this on like even 5, 6, or 8, like if I set this on f8 and go to infinity at f8, because it has all the traditional markings that you'd have on a older vintage lens, from f8 it's in focus from 1 foot to infinity. So focusing isn't that big a deal. It's not the sharpest lens on the block, but when I use Topaz AI, ultimately it looks brilliantly sharp using their sharpening tool. Even coming out of DxO Photo Lab with their sharpening, it looks really good. So post, and when you use these manual focus lenses, you're more likely to shoot raw. I only shoot raw, but you're more likely to shoot raw and edit your images in post-processing, because there's not going to be any built-in editing in the camera, built-in corrections, because the camera doesn't understand the lens, and it's not built by the camera manufacturer. Okay, now the Olympus 12 millimeter, it's been around a long time. It's a really great lens, really sharp, f2. It's sharp from f2 on, and it's got this nice ring to engage manual focus, and it has very smooth manual focus. It costs about the same, well, probably used 200 something, 300. It was, I think, originally like $600. Expensive lens, little lens. But if you don't need the extra width, so this is a 24 millimeter equivalent. The Laowa is 18 millimeter. If 24 is wide enough for you, I'd get this. But then you're paying almost as much for this potentially as you are for this, for the zoom, and it starts at 12, and it's just as sharp. So you have to take that into consideration too. And then your 20 millimeter, super compact and super sharp and under $200 used on eBay. You can buy it new. It's probably under $300 new, and I'll leave a link to it new. And it has a nice focus dampening, but it's still a digital camera lens with the full autofocus support on these cameras. I've also ordered a Brightin Star 60 millimeter macro lens that's full manual focus. It's had some great reviews, which would be a 120 full frame and would be a really great addition to this kit of lenses. For me, I'd be very satisfied with the zoom, the Morningstar 35, and then this 60 millimeter that's coming in, as far as having a really nice manual focus kit. But it depends how compact you like things. That's a factor. Now, the Laowa is wider than the zoom, so I like having that as well. So I should say that I really like having this lens also. But it gives you some ideas about manual focus. And to me, manual focus with a great mirrorless camera viewfinder can be a part of the real joy of photography. These cameras all have manual focus aids. They have focus peaking, which, if you're not familiar with it, it highlights, you can choose a color like red or green or blue, yellow, and it will highlight whatever's in focus in that color, so you know you've hit it. And then most of the cameras also have a magnification feature, which blows up a very small part of what you're viewing and allows you to do critical focus before you shoot. So, and you know, if you're often sitting there touching your back of your screen to set your focus point or screwing around with your joystick, you may find that manual focus in a lot of situations is actually easier, faster, and more fun. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will have a video on the 60 millimeter when it comes out, and I'm also going to be doing a full frame vintage lens adaptation video on my Lumix S5 camera as well. So keep watching, stay tuned, and more videos are coming. Thank you.